She was a kid. I'm sorry. An adult specifically said, don't tell this one person. The one person you tell is the one person you were told not to tell. No sympathy, bitch. You deserved everything. Hello and welcome back to the Help We're Nerds podcast. Today I'm joined by 3 members of the Nerds of the Round Table, not 2. So, would you like to introduce yourself, girls?
Hip hop. It's Mum, Kerry.
I'm Caity.
Oh, I guess I'll go last then. And I'm your favourite top nerd. This is Ashlea. And we're making it a family affair today because, well, it's topic related.
Yep, it's a family affair. My mum's here, my sister's here, and my girlfriend's here. So I'm kind of outnumbered, guys. Wish me luck. The topic of today's episode is Once Upon a Time, and what the hell was that show?
Amazing is what it was.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh, I think we can all agree it was a really good show, but what the heck was it?
I would argue that it was the first real foray into realistic live-action fairy tales.
Yeah.
Well,
and creating a universe out of them where the fairy tales existed in the same world.
Yeah.
A return to the original fairy tale, I guess, rather than the Disney-fied fairy tale. Although they were still pretty Disney-fied.
Yeah.
So, like,
the Brothers Grimm, didn't they?
Yeah, so like a fairy tale MCU.
Yeah. Oh, I like that description of once. The fairy tale MCU.
Yeah, because it had alternative worlds and everything, didn't it? Like more a multiverse.
Oh, we'll get to that when we talk about the season that does not exist.
Okay. Is that season
a season that shall not be named.
Exactly.
Okay, so should we... And I'm assuming if people are listening to this episode, they know what Once Upon a Time is. But Eve, do you want to just give them a quick backstory into... I guess if you were to start watching once, how would you describe it?
So if I was to... I mean, you can each do your own if you want, but the way I would probably describe Once Upon a Time to someone, if I was trying to get them to watch it the first time, is a show that takes place in our world while simultaneously giving us flashbacks to the fantasy world that fairy tales come from, and tells us a overarching story of how fairy tales came from their world to our world, and how happy endings can be undone and recaptured throughout the whole narrative. That was how I would explain Once Upon a Time in a nutshell, because that's what it's supposed to be.
Telling the villain side of the story and giving you a perspective on why things happened in the fairy tales, like why the evil queen was evil.
Yeah, but don't she come good at the end, like towards the end?
Yeah, because she's not really evil, is she?
No, she's like really evil.
So how would you describe it then, Ashlea?
I suppose if I was describing it to someone watching it for the first time, I would say, think of all your favourite Disney fairy tales, all your Disney princesses, or your favourite classic Disney movies, and imagine what would happen if they were cursed to live in a rural village in America, not remembering who they were, but trying to still get their storybook happy ending.
Okay, that's a better way of describing it than what I did. Much better. Oh, and also there's a random orphan protagonist.
Yes, and it's all set around, I suppose in a very fairy tale way, an orphan. just wanting to find a happy ending. How very Disney.
I'm sorry. Seeing as we've basically described Once Upon a Time in multiple different ways at this point, and we've just mentioned the orphan thing, Once Upon a Time had one of the craziest openings to a show ever. A kid just randomly knocking on this woman's door and being like, "Oh, by the way, you're my biological mum."
Yeah. Can I just say, for people that are fans of Once and Lost, have you noticed the number of the door?
No.
No.
8:15.
Oh.
Oh, for
Wow.
God's sake.
Yeah. It actually pops up a lot in Once.
It's not.
Which is interesting because there's actually quite a lot of lost actors in Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
It's very obviously with the same writers, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, as you can see, we're already struggling to say like how we would get someone into the world of Once Upon a Time, and that's only season 1.
It's just so, like I said, that is the opening to the show. A kid knocks on this woman's door who is set up as a bail bondswoman in like the first 10 minutes of the show and having a very, very sad birthday. And then he just knocks on her door and is like, "Oh, I'm your kid, by the way." That's the opening to the show. Welcome to the world of Once Upon a Time.
And then proceeds to tell her, by the way, you're the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming.
And your saviour.
Yeah.
And I'm the adopted son of the evil queen that tried to kill Snow White.
Yep. Welcome to Once Upon a Time, everybody.
But I think, as in obviously, how many spoilers are we doing in this episode, Ethan?
I mean, Once Upon a Time has been out for a long enough time that I think as long as we say now that this will be a spoiler podcast episode. So if you are new to...
if after our very botched descriptions you're thinking, I might give this a watch, switch off. Turn off right now.
Turn off this podcast. Go watch Once Upon a Time season 1 to 6. Come back. Forget season 7 exists. Come back. Watch the rest of this podcast episode. And then decide whether you actually want to go watch season 7. But that is entirely up to you. But from this point on, spoilers are abound. Because you can't really talk about Once Upon a Time without talking spoilers. So,
spoiler alert.
I mean, different franchise, Mum, but yeah, same vein. In the famous words of River Song, spoilers, sweetie. So, let's get into it, because we kind of already hit on it straight away with the family tree. Family tree.
Oh my god, we're actually going to just try and describe the family tree.
The family tree of Once Upon a Time is so fucked up that I still have nightmares about this family tree. What is this family? We have Henry Mills, the secondary main character, if you will. Like, he's the MacGuffin that brings Emma to Storybrooke, and is basically the secondary main. And he's basically the secondary main character, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Then, from him, you get Emma Swan, the daughter of Prince Charming and Snow White. Because of Snow White, you get the fact that the evil queen is her stepmom, but the evil queen is also his adopted mother. Then, from that...
his great-grandma is also his mother.
Yes. So his great step-grandma is also his adopted mother. So from that, you also get that his step-great-great-grandma, also his adopted grandma is the Queen of Hearts.
Yes.
His adopted aunt, is the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend is
I've
Hades,
actually got, sorry,
King
I've
of the
actually got
Underworld.
a photo of the family tree, which I can send to you and you could share.
Yeah, we'll share this on the social media, but, like,
Yeah.
it's so mental. And then Regina ends up dating Robin Hood, of all people.
Yeah.
That's just the adopted mother side of the family. His actual mother ends up going out with the son of Rumpelstiltskin, who is his father. Which means Rumpelstiltskin is his grandfather, which means his step-grandmother is Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
Well, it's like living in a pit village.
But don't forget that Rumpel also had a relationship with Cora, who is
Yeah.
Regina's mother, so
Who
the
is
Queen
the-
of Hearts character.
Yeah.
His adopted his adopted grandmother has a relationship with his
actual
grandfather on
grandfather.
the other side.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention Regina also has a thing for Rumpel at one point.
At one point, yep.
And Zelina has a thing for Rumpel at one point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone does. It's Robert Carlyle, we understand.
Yeah, we do. Even with his scales.
But then
Especially with his scales, no offence.
but then Neil, his actual mother, his biological mother, Mila, has a relationship. She dumps Rumpelstiltskin for Captain
Captain
Hook.
Hook, who then goes on to marry Henry's biological mother.
Yeah. So Henry's technically, because Mila and Hook are together for quite a while, so I suppose you could say technically Henry's step grandfather then becomes his step daddy.
Yeah. Basically.
Yep. Then, if you want to get even weird with all of this, Rumpelstiltskin is then the crocodile from the Peter Pan story.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that ties him to Captain Hook in that way as well. Rumpelstiltskin is just...
Crocodile.
Pardon?
How come he becomes a crocodile, isn't it?
Yeah, because he stole his wife, yeah.
Yeah.
So...
But then the pièce de résistance to the Neverlands saga is that Peter Pan's related as well.
Yeah. Peter Pan... Peter Pan is Rumpelstiltskin's father.
Yeah.
And
The kid that never grows up, famously, the boy that never grows up,
Yeah.
is a great grandfather.
Yeah, and I don't know if anyone's tied this together, but that means Peter Pan married and had Rumpelstiltskin with the Black Fairy.
Yeah.
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 From season 5. Which means Henry's paternal family tree goes like this. Black Fairy, Peter Pan, Rumpelstiltskin, Mila, step-granddad Captain Hook.
Yeah.
Then down to Bellfire, who then goes out with Emma, has Henry, dates basically just an ordinary person for a bit. Then dies. Spoiler alert. I know we already did that, but dies. And then, literally, Emma then goes on to marry Henry's step-granddad.
Yeah.
So, all we can say...
I was just going to say, I will point out that because Emma is drawn back into the Storybrooke world, like she doesn't grow up in it, because that's the premise of the film. Even she, at some point throughout the various points throughout the seasons, goes, "What?
Yeah, she
Are
does.
you kidding me? Like, what's going on here? I'm so confused. Like, even she points out that it's bonkers.
Yeah, I think if it weren't like pre-watershed, like made for pre-watershed, she'd have been going, what the fuck? Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Are you worried about you though?
Unfortunately,
Which
wish.
I thought was wrong. I'd have liked Hades to have had a I've been misunderstood storyline too, because the mythology version is actually an alright guy.
Yeah.
As far as
Yeah.
Greek gods go.
As far
But
as
I
Greek
think that's-
gods go,
Because if you notice, they do everything opposite. Like in Red Riding Hood, they weren't a wolf, she was the wolf. You know what I mean? They do
Yeah.
everything
So
a bit differently.
very messed up family tree.
Yeah.
Everyone's related to everybody. And the way that they did the stories was also very unique. Like as Mum's just said, like they would take the normal fairy tale and turn it.
It was a twisted tale.
Yes. Which has actually become quite a popular trope since.
Yeah. Well, I remember reading those twisted tales, Disney twisted tales.
I haven't.
I know you do. First one that I read, the words out of my mouth were, "Oh, this is just Once Upon a Time," because I'd already seen Once Upon a Time at that point, so it weren't a new concept to me. I think once were the first thing, first program, first writing to actually twist the tales on their head and turn the villains into victims, which in real life is actually quite true most of the time.
Yeah, it's a really clever concept.
Yes.
yeah, I enjoyed Once Upon a Time for that. I also enjoyed that they made traditional heroes villains. Case in
Yeah.
point, Peter Pan.
Yeah. Oh, I hated Peter Pan in once. They were horrible.
Obviously, when you read the actual source material of Peter Pan is ambiguous, to say the least.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly call him a hero in his original story. I was just about to say that.
I think they actually stayed. I personally think they stayed quite close to the Peter Pan story, because Peter Pan used to go around in the book. He kidnaps children, doesn't he? And takes them to Neverland and not let them go home. Was that right, Ashlea?
What, in the original Jay and Barry story?
In the original story. It's not.
I don't know if they class it as kidnapping in the original book.
Right.
Like even so, it's ambiguous. Peter Pan claims that he sees, lost children. Whether they're physically lost or mentally kind of checked out, and brings them to Neverland for a better life. But whether they're actually, whether they're stolen from the parents or they're just orphans in general,
it's not.
It's not really thought out.
Yeah, I remembered it as he kidnapped them. So, like John and Wendy.
It could be either way. The main point about Peter in the original story is he is a child.
Yeah.
In mentally, and so he thinks like a child. And so a lot of the sort of tantrum behavior, like, no, you're supposed to be having fun with me, you can't leave, like he is as childish. It is what it says on the tin. It's someone that no matter how much time goes on, never developmentally changes.
Grows up. Yeah, he's predominantly always going to be like 10 years old.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so I think the Peter Pan book is a lot darker than the Disney version.
Well, so are a lot of them.
But I wouldn't necessarily say Peter Pan's an out-and-out villain.
That's what Peter Pan is ambiguous on whether
for a lot of years. So.
It is what it is. It's like, is Peter Pan the villain, or are these kids willingly going? It's for you to decide, I think.
It's for you to decide, really. Yeah.
Like even
And
when
that's why you
Wendy,
get so many different adaptations.
even when Wendy goes to Neverland, like Peter asks her in so many different adaptations, and in the original, it's kind of her idea. But is it her idea? Because Peter's been visiting her for ages. So is it her idea? Or has he brainwashed her into thinking that's the best solution?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, you probably believes that.
So,
But you have to also think about like the fact that not to get too much into it, but J.M. Barrie did eventually leave all the rights to the Peter Pan story to Great Ormond Street Hospital.
He did, yeah.
He was writing a story about children.
Yeah.
Kind of, or lost children. For children.
Yeah.
And it was a stage show as well, rather than
that's why one of the interpretations of Peter Pan is that he's the angel of death.
That's one.
So, yeah, but the point is Disney, when Disney did the Peter Pan story, one, they aged him up.
Yeah.
He looks about 18 in the cartoon.
And he doesn't look about 18. I'd say more about 14.
He's a proper teenager. He's not a 10-year-old little kid, is he?
He's not a 10-year-old, no.
He's not a 10-year-old.
Yeah,
I thought it was about 13, 14.
I thought 14, 15 in cartoon.
Oh, okay, fine. The point is they aged him up.
Yeah.
They made him match Wendy's age, so it wasn't weird when he was like flirting with Wendy.
Yeah.
Isn't Wendy supposed to be about 12?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They made him slightly older than
I
when.
thought he was about 14 because he's supposed to be a couple of years older than Wendy. So.
Because the whole point is Wendy's supposed to be moving on from the nursery.
Yeah, she's growing up, isn't she? And that's why he comes, because she doesn't want her to grow up.
Anyway, we could spend the whole thing talking about Peter Pan and actually off topic.
Yeah, I'm gonna say maybe we do a podcast episode on Peter Pan. Yeah. Put in the comments if you'd like that, because looks like we've got a lot to say on Peter Pan.
Yeah. But yeah, and then going back to Once Upon a Time and talking about like the original twists and turns. I personally, the main thing I enjoyed, especially in the early seasons, was guessing who everybody was. Yes. Because they don't out and out tell you who everybody
Some were so out there that I felt blindsided, like Dr. Whale being Frankenstein.
No, Dr. Whale being Frankenstein made so much sense.
Yeah. The best one that I remember, and you'll obviously, you've already said with family, so you two were quite young at this time. But I can remember when we used to watch it, all of us, trying to guess who Bellfire was.
Oh God, yeah, we were all like, "Oh, he's Bellfire." Yeah. Wait, no, he's Bellfire. No.
We really thought it were August, didn't we?
We did.
Yes.
Really, really thought it were August. Who turned out to be Pinocchio.
Well, it's not my fault his performance was wooden.
Funny. Very funny.
Sebastian Stan's character, Jefferson, was one of my favourites. Yeah. Like he was.
I wonder why.
In a couple of episodes, we should have had more of him. But
I liked him. I liked him as Mad Hatter. Oh God.
It was, and he was in a couple of episodes before it was revealed he was the Mad Hatter.
I know, and then he became James Buchanan Barnes and left us behind.
Marvel stealing him. We got no more Mad Hatter because of Marvel.
But he was a great Mad Hatter, and I loved trying to figure out who he was with his dapper suits and his eyeliner.
Yeah. He was the best. He was the best season 1 character. Let's just put it out there. He was like, he showed up. He knew everything. He knew it was a curse.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
He was the first adult to validate everything Henry was saying, but he was absolutely nuts. So you were like, oh god, this does not help Henry at all.
Matt Hathaway, that were August who validated Henry.
No, he kidnaps Emma and literally validates everything Henry says. He's literally telling Emma that she is the daughter of Snow White, and that that the people that have got his daughter stole his daughter.
I can't remember that episode.
I can't remember. I'll have to watch it again.
It's one of the best ones.
Because she was tied to the chair in his
Oh,
apartment.
yeah, I can remember now.
It's
When
one
you
of the...
said tied around the chair, it
Yeah,
clicked.
and he disappeared not long after that episode, didn't he?
Yeah, he falls out the window of his own house and disappears, and that's the last you bloody see of him.
Yeah. Because we don't even see him in Wonderland, do we?
No.
No, you do see him when he's reunited with his daughter.
Yeah, we do. We see him reunite with his daughter.
Yeah, but is it really Sebastian Stan?
And that's when they leave Storybrooke, don't they?
I think Regina gives him some magic, doesn't she? And they actually...
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think we go through a portal, don't they?
Yeah, I think she basically gets his hat to work again so he can leave.
Yeah, so he can leave with his daughter.
Okay, since we're talking about the Mad Hat, there's a continuity error that really winds me up.
Okay.
The hat gets destroyed when Snow and Emma go to the Forbidden Forest, Enchanted Forest. I almost said Forbidden Forest. That's Harry Potter. The Enchanted Forest in season 2. And then Zelena finds another hat, and she turns round to everybody and goes, "Well, he was a hatter. He had more than one. If he could make more than one, he would have got out of Wonderland."
So that was the point of why he became the Mad Hatter, because he can make multiple hats, but in a world without magic, where magic works differently, you can't necessarily get them to work.
Yeah, and if you watch Wonderland, it tells you that in Wonderland.
I haven't seen
But
it.
magic works differently in Wonderland.
The Queen of Hearts has imprisoned him, and if I remember rightly, he's actually chained up.
Yeah, he is.
She cuts off his head multiple times too.
Yes,
Is Wonderland better than Want itself?
No,
it's better.
It's not better, but it's as good as season 1, I think.
I think that it was one of the better spin-offs. I think they should have done a season 2 Wonderland, not a season 7 once.
I don't think Wonderland needed a season 2. I think it wrapped its story up very well, but I do think we needed more spin-offs.
Yeah, I just liked Once Upon a Time in Agrabah, for example. We see Agrabah in Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Which is one of our only kind of tastes of the Aladdin storyline.
And we kind of get it when Aladdin shows up as the other saviour in the final season, in what I consider the final season of Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
But
there was a lot more to kind of play.
Do you know what? If they wanted to use the original cast as well, like they clearly did when they did season 7, they could have done Once Upon a Time in the Wish Realm.
Yeah, they could.
Because they had the wish realm where everything, where Emma never became the savior. They did
if
that.
I remember right, just wanted to leave, and the only ones that wanted to stay are the ones that are in season 7.
Yeah, but it could have focused on that. Their evil queen, the evil queen from when Thingy drank the potion and she got from Jekyll and Hyde and she got split in two. Left to go to the Wish Realm with Wish Realm Robin.
Yeah.
We could have focused on that and her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her getting her happy ending, because our Regina already got hers. So we could have seen her get her happy ending.
Yeah. Or got into the horror one.
Yes.
That was a good one.
I think it was officially World Without Colour or something.
Yeah, the land without colour.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde and Frankenstein were released too. But you had so many other horror films, obviously, your classics like Dracula, The
Wolfman.
Invisible Man,
Yeah.
Wolfman. But you could have also had others like Camilla, for example,
Yeah.
the first real vampire story. And, you know, all that sort of other tropes to the horror genre.
Yeah.
Which would, you know, have to make it scary. They could have done it a bit like Addams Family or The Munsters.
Yeah, exactly. They could have.
I don't know if it was just me, but I think because ABC was owned by Disney and Disney had the rights at the time to do the movies, and they were fumbling the bag with the movies. I think Once Upon a Time missed a trick by not having them go to Narnia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been
Yeah,
good.
because at one point, didn't we theorise that we might go to, there might be a realm of fantasy and we'd go and see the other fantasy realms?
Yeah,
I
because
remember at one point, me and you were joking about, are they going to go do like Lord of the Rings or something?
Well, yeah, because like in the final scene of the season that will not be named, you see all the lands of story together, and I swear that when it pans over the skyline, there's a bunch of wizards on brooms playing Quidditch.
Yes, there is.
Obviously, they can't focus on it because they didn't own the rights to Harry Potter, but it's very obvious if you're paying attention.
Can you imagine Harry Potter fighting Maleficent?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right? Other lands of story where they go to like Harry Potter. They mention it, seeing as though apparently he was Lily's father, even though this is the most bullshit answer to that question ever. Zorro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so supposedly Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
Big scary dragon had a baby with Zorro.
Yeah.
And it's such a throwaway comment as well.
It's
yeah.
Did you hear the
dragon was pregnant because Lily were in an egg. She wasn't pregnant with her. She was in an egg.
Yeah,
so
I know. And Maleficent says she doesn't know who he is. Yeah, she said she literally turns around and says, "I don't know who he is because I was in my dragon. We were in dragon form."
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so how the hell did Zorro turn into a dragon? Yeah.
Exactly. It made more sense to be that old Chinese guy.
The dragon.
Yeah.
Especially seeing as though he mentions losing a daughter.
Exactly.
He mentions in the episode where he gets trapped in the mirror world to Emma that he lost his daughter.
Yeah, he does.
And I was like, "Oh,
I think that's where they were going, and then at the end they just went Zorro. What? What the fuck?"
Yeah.
They dropped that plot line so fast, and I was like, "No, just go with it was Mushu."
Exactly. Because that makes sense.
And the reason he was in the land without magic the whole time was he was looking for her.
Precisely. But,
other contenders, I'm just thinking of other Disney dragons.
Pete's
It
dragon.
would have been quite funny. It would be like Elliot.
Oh, that'd be nice.
The only other one that if it weren't Elliot, the only other one I could see is Eustace from Narnia. You know the cousin.
Oh, I into a dragon, doesn't it?
Of the Pevensies.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
He turns in. He gets cursed.
It's Never-Ending Story. It's Never-Ending Story, owned by Disney.
Oh yeah, it could be that dragon.
Oh, Falco.
Oh, it could be Falco.
Oh.
What about that dragon from House Training Dragon? What?
Could be him, yeah.
I mean, that's
There's loads of dragons.
They had loads of dragons to choose from. Why did you choose something that wasn't a dragon?
I mean, you couldn't have even hit George R.R. Martin up and just said it was a dragon from freaking Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Could have been any dragon whatsoever, but no. They come out with Zorro.
It was Smaug from Lord of the Rings. There we go. While he were dealing with Bilbo Baggins, he also got it off with Maleficent.
Yeah.
I also quite like the idea that they just wouldn't tell you. and it'd be kind of like, it's not that important. Like, dragon biology works a bit like snakes, you know?
Yeah.
You know, snakes, apparently, when I've watched nature documentaries, it's kind of they all coil together, don't they? And it's, they'd never know who fertilised that egg.
So a pylon, there were Mushu, Zora.
There were like 5 different dragons.
Oh, yes.
She didn't really ask the names because it's not really about like stereotypical family, like mum and dad with an egg. It's more about I wanted a kid, so I went and got myself a little sperm donor.
Why does this feel like Maleficent went to the fantasy version of a key pie?
Yeah.
We could have gone with it. Oh, we could have had plenty of, there's other female dragons out there.
Yeah.
Why couldn't she and another female dragon have said that they wanted a kid, and they were like, well, we don't know who the actual biological other side of the egg is, but the point is, I got Lily out of it. It don't really matter.
It was Madam Mim.
Oh my god, Madam Mim would have been hilarious. They'd already done a King Arthur storyline as well, so they could have very easily have done like a Madam Mim.
They could quite easily had Madam Mim brought in there, couldn't they?
Yeah.
So she turned into a dragon.
Yeah, she does. It's my favourite move to play in the Locana.
Yeah.
Yep, you love that one so much.
So, could have been there. And that would have actually been pretty cool.
See,
yeah, and actually linked it back into characters we've already
The thing is,
seen.
it goes from the Lily storyline straight to the Emma's the Dark One storyline, which goes straight into the Camelot storyline. So that would have worked perfectly.
It would have, it would have worked perfect.
And because I remember at the time we were all theorising, oh my god, Lily's father's going to be Merlin.
Yeah.
Yes, we were.
Because we were, I think that would have been cool. Like, it's revealed that Merlin is Lily's dad.
Yeah.
And then Emma's got to ask Merlin for help, and then Emma's boyfriend kills Merlin, and then Emma's like, oh shit, I didn't just ruin her life, my boyfriend just killed her father, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Oh god.
We're making this sound like we said we were answering the question, what was Once Upon a Time? I think we're just confusing people more. I've confused myself more.
But let's face it, watching Once Upon a Time, you do get confused.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, the question
And
is,
that's
what was Once Upon a Time? But there is no answer to what was Once Upon a Time, because Once Upon a Time is different for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's whatever you make it.
I think because I think
is that what you're saying, Ethan? Once Upon a Time is whatever you want it to be.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would.
yeah,
It is.
It is.
Once Upon a Time is fairyland. Is fairy tales in the real world.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a fairy tale in the real world.
To be fair, because I think if we were to ask each of us what our favourite season was, we'd have a different answer.
Well, let's do it.
All right,
Yeah.
you go first then, Mum. What's your favourite season?
Oh, do you know what? It's an hard one, to be honest.
All right, a storyline. Maybe not season, because they had different storylines that went across seasons.
Yeah.
My favourite storyline is Peter Pan.
Right.
That is my favourite storyline.
So season 3A.
Yeah, that's my favourite. My least favourite is Frozen.
I agree with that.
We're not talking about season 7, so that's
not. I don't agree with the favourite, but I agree with the least favourite. If we're not talking season 7, the Frozen storyline was a little bit lackluster, and to be honest, borderlines on cash grab because it was Frozen IP. So, Ash, what about you?
I agree. I think the Neverland storyline was my favourite because it also tied in to the Let's Find Bellfire storyline, and so all that kind of kicked off at the same point. And it's got a couple of my all-time favourite episodes in. Worst story arc, I don't know what you call it. The one where they had the 3 different villainesses, like Cruella de Vil.
Oh Oh, you mean the Heroes and Villains arc?
Heroes and Villains arc, yeah.
The author arc, basically.
The author arc. I didn't like that. I particularly didn't like Cruella de Vil's storyline.
Yeah, that was
That's
a bit.
just me. I think that was the point where I was like, not every villain needs to be redeemed. Some can be just pure evil.
See,
And
I
a woman
liked
that wants to make a coat out of puppies, let's just leave her evil. I also think, well, the
They
the
did.
Cruella de Vil film that they went on to do is a decent film. It's not the same Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. She's a psycho. Let's leave her as a psycho.
But they did in Once Upon a Time. They did leave her as a psycho in Once Upon a Time. That's what I like.
Yeah, but they also glamorized her. She was this glamorous, like 1920s type. Oh,
but she
darling,
weren't.
sort of thing. And I know that she's supposed to be a fashionista and she's supposed to be a bit glamorous, but I don't know. I didn't get the kind of that I hate you so much vibes in the same way I got that with Peter Pan. And
Yeah.
I felt like it was toned down because it was an ABC product, and I was a bit like, I don't really care for her. My opinion.
Think the reason why you don't hate her as much as you can is because she was funny.
Yeah.
She was. Like there were a couple of things I laugh at because I just, do you know what I mean? I do find it
But
funny.
again, there was too much as well because there was her, Ursula, and was it Maleficent the other one?
Yeah,
it was her,
and
Ursula,
so you've got
Maleficent, and then Rumpel being sad that Belle kicked him out.
Yeah, basically. And so you kind of got this girl group, girl group plus Rumpel.
It was basically,
sort of thing of villains, and part of me would rather that they just had one and they fleshed it out properly. Like Ursula, I felt like they were lackluster with her story as well.
Yeah, they were.
The fact that she's still not the real Ursula.
Yeah, I just wanted her to be an actual, like, demonic sea witch creature. Like, I wanted her to be the real Ursula.
The real Ursula that choked out Chuffin Regina were in that gold statue is not the same Ursula we got in the Girl Power arc.
As in, I personally, in the Girl Power arc, hilarious. I'd have scrapped the other two and I'd have focused on Ursula, and I would have had it as a kind of like under the sea arc.
Yeah.
Where we'd have had Ariel and Eric back as like our kind of hero that we're going to pivot around. But I'd have introduced Triton as a proper character.
Yeah, they didn't even have
Triton. Around the same time, we're delving into the world of the underworld and Hades. Why not actually introduce Poseidon while we're at it?
That's who he was supposed to be, by the way. Ursula's father is not Triton in Once Upon a Time. It's Poseidon.
Yeah, because he does show up.
Yeah, the guy that he does show the guy that gives her a voice back. The guy that gives her a voice back. That's not Triton. It's Poseidon.
Oh, it's supposed to be Poseidon.
Yeah, that's Poseidon.
There's no Triton in Once Upon a Time.
Right. Okay. Well, that's how godlike he actually is. That I was like, oh, that can't be Poseidon.
I know they did Zeus so well when he brought
I'd have gone under the sea, because in my head I'm thinking you've got.
You did Zeus really well. Did you see him? He were about 10.
But it makes sense because Zeus is the youngest of the gods. So
of the gods, yeah.
So for the way that they were going with it, it made sense. Like, he's supposed to be the youngest of the three.
You weren't 10.
Well, no, but he's immortal. The way they went with the whole storyline, Mum, is that they're immortal and they don't change.
Oh, I'll say
Point is, I'd have done an Under the Sea arc. I'd have added things in like 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. We could have looked at Atlantis.
Yeah, give me Milo Finch, aka Daniel Jackson from Stargate.
Yes. and we've spoke about this at length, and there's probably going to be an episode. I'm not even going to ask people if they want it. I want an opportunity to talk about the masterpiece that is Atlantis as a movie.
Yeah, we're talking about that, and the fact that Stargate and it are basically the same story with different genres.
Yeah.
But no, like I that's my sort of, that's the storyline I'd skip, basically.
Yeah. What about you, Katie?
I'd probably say the Peter Pan episode was really good.
So the Peter Pan arc's your favourite. What's your least favourite then?
I can't really remember off the top of my head.
That's okay. I know mine, so that's okay.
Go on then.
So, you've all said Peter Pan's your favourite, and that is what up there. It's my second, but I named you all Nerds of the Round Table, so I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Camelot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, my favourite season is Emma's the Dark Swan arc, basically. Camelot. I also
Can I change my worst season?
Pardon?
Dark Swan. Can I change my worst season, please?
Why do you hate Dark Swan?
I do. It's not. No. With no need. There were no need to darken her up like that.
No, I agree with that. There was no need for her as the Dark One. I agree with that part. I love the Camelot arc, though. I wish we could have just focused on that and Merlin as the sorcerer, and just delved more into the Sorcerer's Apprentice. It's my favourite arc because of Camelot, and I like the fact that they made Arthur the villain.
Yeah.
Arthur is the villain.
Pardon?
Actually.
Pardon, Ash?
I said Arthur is a villain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like the fact that they went that route rather than making him this glamorous hero like everything else does. So
I think I agree. It was a good season. I think I can't put it at my top though, because my head number one spot reserved for Camelot story / The Legend of King Arthur on screen has to be the BBC TV series Merlin.
of Merlin,
And in my head, I was like, anything pales. Every time I see like a Merlin or a King Arthur, I'm like, yeah, but you're not Bradley James and Colin Morgan.
The only reason I like that,
That's prime, I think.
I just really, really love the fact that they made King Arthur a villain. That is the reason why it edges out Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Mm.
I also like the fact that we find all the crap out last season about what David and Mary Margaret did to Lily, and then they still try and paint David as the Lancelot figure.
Yeah.
In that season, I'm like, really?
Mm. Yeah. Well,
I've got a question for you then, Eve.
Go on.
Are the Charmings really heroes?
No,
that's what I was going to say.
no, they are not. They are the biggest villains of the show. Snow White and her false virtuous bullshit. She is a bigger villain than any of the bad guys that show up on that show.
Yes, I agree.
She's so false right.
Little kid and all.
She's so false righteous and arrogant that she pisses me off.
Yeah.
David's not as bad. Like, he's bad, but he's not as bad as Snow. But he's like, for God's sake. The worst thing is when Emma's like trying to learn to control her magic, and like accidentally does some stuff, and she acts like Emma's a monster.
Yeah.
And then she turns around to David and goes, "We failed." Like, what the fuck did David do? You're the one treating her like a piece of shit. We failed. It is a consensus online, and it is something I 100% agree with. Snow White wanted a baby. David wanted his daughter back.
Yeah. She still thought she were a kid. I mean, as a mother, I kind of understand that because I know that you're 26 nearly and 30, nearly 31, and you've got your sibling who's 17 going on 18, but in my eyes, you're still 2. Do you know what I mean? You're still my babies. So I get that from Snow's point of view because you don't want your kids to. They're still your kids in your. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Nana sees me as a little girl still.
I get what you're saying, and I
I
understand
where she's coming from, but she went too far. David did it right way. He tried to get to know her as a person. Snow tried to be a mother to her when she didn't know her.
The reason why Snow pisses me off, though, is because Snow did know her. They were best friends before Snow got her memories back.
Yeah, but she didn't know her really. They'd only known her for a few weeks. It's not been long.
Yeah, I know, but they were getting on really well. They were roommates, they were friends, and it'd been a couple of months at this point. And
well, yeah,
and I get like the instinct, but she is also a grown woman.
I'm just seeing it from parental.
I know, and I get the way you're seeing it, but you're also seeing it from the fact that you've known her since we were that age. She met her at 38.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that would be harder because she never had the chance to bring her up. She was taken away from her. So she wants to give her all the advice and she wants to be the mummy that she should have been.
I get that.
Realising that as a grown woman.
It's more the way she is when Neil comes along. And don't get me started on the fact that she names Emma's brother after her dead ex-boyfriend.
Well, yeah. No, I think that were a bit weird, like. I can assure you, if I have any kids, I won't be naming them Caity or Tom.
Like, I'm sorry that yeah, because it's just weird, right? And then Zelina goes and does the same thing. She names her daughter after her sister's dead boyfriend.
But in fairness, also a dad.
Yeah, she names the kid after her own dad, yeah.
She names the daughter after her father.
Yeah, you mean the father that she sexually assaulted to father the child?
Well, yeah, but she'd been redeemed by then, so we let that sexual assault go.
I think this is the darker side of once, right? Like people, we get this is why villains do what they need to, and these are the people you're going to meet. But actually, there's a backstory. But then there's certain storylines where they just skip over things that you think, no, that's not redeemable, or no one would in real life would go, oh, that happened. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, now we're best friends and sisters.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we hated each other, but now that you've had my boyfriend's daughter, I'll be your best friend.
Yeah. That you tricked him into fathering because you pretended to be his dead wife that you murdered.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, and your boyfriend murdered my boyfriend.
Well, he didn't just murder him, he erased him from existence.
Well, yeah.
There is no afterlife for Robin Hood.
Oh, no, that was the saddest death ever. I'm sorry, but it was. That was the saddest one. I proper cried at that.
It was unnecessary as well. They didn't really need to kill him
off. It was cruel. It was just cruel. Poor Regina. Never mind Robin. Poor Regina. Robin couldn't feel it, he's not here. But Regina, she'd eventually found somebody to look there for her, and then they're going to take him away like that. Bastards.
Best platonic romance, although the internet thinks it should have been a proper romance, in Once Upon a Time was Emma and Regina.
Yeah, I don't ship them as a real romance, though.
No, but I like them as co-parents.
I know, a lot of people ship them as an actual couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's an actual ship online called Swan Queen. Swan Queen. So,
Yeah, but people are stupid and do that all the time.
I mean, it'd be so weird though, because it's one, it's her step grandma,
Yeah.
and two, it's just weird.
Well, we've already learned that family doesn't really mean family in Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
True.
We've all just got magic blood. There's no such thing as DNA.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, everyone's took a dip on Rumpelstiltskin.
Well, yeah, they are. Well,
Except except Emma Swan.
yeah. Well, if I got a chance to take a dip on Rumpelstiltskin, I certainly would.
I think Belle just eyes. I think Belle just eyes everyone in.
Well, don't start me on Belle because she does my head in.
Rumpelstiltskin is my favourite character.
Yeah, I think.
Why was she Australian?
Yeah, and
I know the actress is Australian, and that's where the accent comes from, right? But
yeah,
why would you go out your way to cast an Australian actress with a thick Australian accent when you know that Belle is a French princess?
Yeah, because she were in Lost. And what we did was we just chose those actors from Lost and went, we'll have them.
I will say, Belle and there's one particular Belle and Rumpel storyline that I find redeeming in season 7, and that's when they do the little up montage.
Oh, no, because that's like...
I bawled my eyes out like a baby. And it's the only part of season 7 that I'll be like, I'll watch.
That should have been on the end of season 6.
Yeah.
How about we do an edit where we cut that bit out of season 7 and just stick it on the end of season 6?
Yeah.
If you really want to see the real true end of Rumpel and Belle, do that up scene, but then also do like Rumpel going with her.
Yeah.
And being like, right, bye bye to them too. The immortal creature that's lasted for thousands of years and caused all this problem met his one true love. We had our up scene, we all cried, and he's finally ready to actually move on.
Yeah.
For whatever it is that's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That should be the end of the story.
It should. I agree.
Because everybody agrees that the best character in Once Upon a Time is Rumpelstiltskin. Second best character in Once Upon a Time is Hook, and third best character is Regina.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'd
agree with that.
Yeah. Hook's so nice.
And the Charmings are just there to ruin everybody's day.
Yes. Yeah, but it does all come down to them, doesn't it? I mean, let's face it, it's no like, no laugh. If it wouldn't have been for Snow telling Cora...
You mean the one person Regina asked her not to tell?
To tell, yeah.
Exactly. If she hadn't been a snitch...
Everybody always turns round to me on forums and stuff and goes, she was a kid. I'm sorry. An adult specifically said, don't tell this one person.
Mm-hmm.
And the one person you tell is the one person you were told not to tell. No sympathy, bitch. You deserved everything.
Yes.
I think we can see why Grumpy's grumpy. Like, he's got to deal with that.
I felt so sorry for him.
Yeah.
Because he was called
Dreamy.
What were he called?
Dreamy.
The second villain of the entire show. The other self-righteous bitch. Blue Fairy.
Actually, she's the main villain. The Blue Fairy.
The Blue Fairy.
Yeah, she's the main villain.
She's the one that turned around to the Black Fairy and was like, your son's going to have to die. Sorry, love, that's his lot in life. So that's what turned her evil. She's the one that turned around to everyone and to Dreamy and was like, you can't date a fairy. You're going to have to be a grumpy bastard for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
She's just evil. She's the epitome of being too by the book is also bad. as
Yes.
being too chaotic.
Oh, there's a really interesting commentary there at the fact that in the real world they become nuns.
Yes. Self-righteous.
If that's what you're saying, the fairies are self-righteous, supposed do-gooders that do things far too by the book.
And they
Probably an
become nuns.
interesting commentary, probably somewhere in there.
Well, it is literally how they're portrayed. They're portrayed as the people that are so bad. Like, Tinkerbell gets her wings stripped for trying to help Regina redeem herself. How is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
It's not her. It's not her fault. Regina faults at the last minute because she's scared. But Tinkerbell gets stripped of her authority as a fairy because of it. And that was all because of Blue.
Yeah.
Blue's like, villains are villains. And she lies to Snow White. She tells Snow White that only one person can go in that tree.
Yes, but that's because Geppetto said he'll only do it if Pinocchio can go. So actually, although I do think the Blue Fairy was, like you say, too self-righteous and caused problems, I do also think that she knew the only way to have Geppetto make that was by agreeing to say there was only one space.
I agree. I understand what you mean by that, but what I'm saying is, if that had been anyone else, like Pinocchio, she punishes him for lying, he gets turned to wood. If that had been anyone else, she'd have been like, lying is wrong, no. But she goes along with it and lies to Snow White's face.
Yeah, because all she wants is what's supposed to happen, which is Emma, the saviour, saving them in 28 years.
Yeah.
So as long as Emma goes, it doesn't matter about anybody else.
And that's what I'm saying. That it literally fits in that self-righteous vein, because it like I said, August literally gets punished because he lies and isn't what she considers a good boy.
Yeah.
Who's a good boy?
Not Pinocchio.
And he's not even given a second chance. Like, he realises he messed up and he tries to redeem himself and he still gets turned to wood.
Yeah, but that's the magic. She doesn't do that. He starts turning back to wood because of the magic.
And who casts the spell?
He doesn't just tell a lie, does he? He doesn't just tell a lie.
I know what he does, but what I'm saying is that when he tries to fix it, the magic doesn't undo itself. And who casts the spell?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, her spell was that rigid that it has no room for making amends for the things that you've done.
Yeah, true.
And he still turns to wood. And her solution to fixing it, because he sacrificed himself for Emma, is to turn him back into a little boy.
Yeah, so that it can start again.
Yeah.
With his dad. I think that was a good ending, because all that he actually wanted, and his dad actually wanted, was them to actually have that time together.
Yeah,
I know. And as I've said, I don't like Snow White.
To me.
I get that, and as I've said, I don't like Snow White. But look at that from Snow White's perspective. Geppetto lied to her face and told her that she couldn't go with her daughter, and snuck his son into the magic tree. But then he gets to spend his life raising his son. She's now going to deal with a 28-year-old. How's that fair?
Well, Pinocchio wasn't the saviour. So he could be a little boy again, whereas Emma couldn't because she was the saviour.
That would have been an entirely different premise of the show where she also turns back into a newborn baby.
Yeah,
and they're like, she still has to try and save the world.
Yeah, as a newborn.
I'm sorry.
As a newborn.
I'm sorry. Wouldn't it have been hilarious if the curse...
was going, Mummy, stop crying!
Wouldn't it have been hilarious when she broke the curse if she'd have just turned back into a baby? The curse breaks and Emma's just, baby.
if it were just a one-season thing, I reckon that's how they'd have ended it.
Maybe.
No, because that'd have been fucked up for Henry.
Yeah, Henry's
but-
just holding his mother.
Henry's there and going, shh, mummy, shh.
It's not off brand. For
Have
Once
a
Upon
mummy
a
in the
Time.
bottle.
It pans to the future where Henry's a full-grown adult and she's the age of Henry was when
Yeah.
when the show starts, and he's like, "So, Mum," and he's like, and Emma's like, "Oh, for God's, what is this family?" And then
he
Neil,
pulls out a fairy. He pulls out a fairy tale book, and he's like, "Let me explain it to you."
yeah,
Once upon a time.
once upon a time, and Neil walks in just as that happens.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think they missed a bit of a trick with it not ending with the or at least one of the seasons ending with someone opening a storybook.
I think it would have been really
So-
cool because in the final, I know that in season 7, so we've talked about how we don't like it, but we may as well mention it now. In season 7, they do the whole thing where Henry goes to a parallel universe and meets an alternate universe version of Cinderella, marries her, gets cursed himself, all that jazz. Basically, season 1 again, but off-brand.
Yeah, exactly. Well, basically season 1 again.
Yeah.
But at the end, Emma's pregnant. And we get Regina's coronation as the good queen.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, at the beginning, Emma's pregnant. At the end, we get Emma walking in with a baby.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, instead of the coronation, because we had all that with the mayor thing at the end of season 6.
Yeah.
If they wanted to do a really cool ending for season 7, and say that it's full circle, you should have had Emma's baby in a bassinet, and Henry with the book. Seems like it was Henry's book. Go.
Yeah, reading it to her.
Reading to his brother or sister and going, "Once upon a time."
Yeah.
And the show ends.
That would
That
have been
would've
lovely.
Yeah, it would have been good.
And we've just solved all the problems of season 7.
Yeah.
Not really, but
Not really. Not really, but you can.
Jacinda exists. Oh, I can't stand her. In
Season 7. Season 7 was a mess. Personally, I think if I'm talking season 7, my hot take for season 7 is they missed a trick by having Henry marry Cinderella and not having him marry one of the evil stepsisters.
I felt more chemistry between him and Drusilla than
I did.
I thought that it was going to be revealed that Cinderella's daughter thought Henry was her father, and that because she's read his book and everything, and it was all going to be revealed that he's not her father, and her memories are all messed up too, and that he's her uncle, and that he was actually married to Drusilla. That's what I thought the twist was going to be, because I thought they're not going to do the same thing all over again. Because he did have, because he had so much chemistry with her, and I think it would have been really cool if Henry, who was raised by a reformed villain, got with a reformed villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than a goody two shoes.
Drusilla were a villain.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't actually think she were a villain.
But she saw herself. She saw herself as one.
Yeah, but I don't think she was. I think she was just an unloved person.
She saw herself as a villain. I think it would have fit Henry's character to go with that season's version of Regina.
Yeah.
Because that's what she was supposed to be.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I did like the Gothel story though, in 7.
I think if they'd have done that without tying it to Wish Realm Hook, it could have worked.
Yeah. I know, I quite liked her.
And having her also be Alice from Alice in Wonderland was weird.
Yeah, because they'd already kind of done the Wonderland story, so
Maybe
it would. I'd rather of them have done a different one.
But I
If
did
she-
like Tilly.
If
But I
she'd-
did like
if-
the person that played Alice.
If
Yeah,
she'd
I
have
did.
been,
I thought
if
she
she'd
was
have
great.
just been Rapunzel,
Yeah.
then I would have liked it.
Mm.
And I did like the
Well,
fact
she was a
that
really good actress. I did
Huh.
think she played that part really well.
yeah, I thought she played the part really well, but I think it would have worked better if she'd have just been Rapunzel. And I liked the fact that they made Robin's daughter Robin Hood's daughter Robin, her Flynn
Yeah.
Rider.
Mm.
Yeah.
I did like that, and I think they should have also brought back. This is talking properly like Once Upon a Time in general, but there were storylines that were dropped. We talked about Lily's father, but there were other ones like Milan and Dorothy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just trying to bring that up because Ruby and Dorothy that ended up together. No, Aurora and Dorothy, wasn't it?
No, Aurora, Milan, and Philip were supposed to have some sort of weird throuple vibes.
Yeah.
And then Milan Milan left to go with Ruby, and they ended up in the Emerald
And
City.
Ruby ended up with Dorothy.
Yeah, she did.
Ruby ends up with Dorothy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then Milan ended up with no one. Milan's storyline was unfinished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I thought Milan should have ended up with, because obviously Milan was definitely a lesbian, because it were, we all thought it were Philip that she loved, but it wasn't, it were Aurora.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I personally think it would have been better if Dorothy and Milan would have ended up together, not Dorothy and Ruby.
I also think it's fine that some people stayed single because you don't need to be in a relationship to have a happy ending.
I don't think Milan needed to be in a relationship. I just think Milan's storyline wasn't finished.
It did. He went off with Merry Men.
See, I don't think the Merry Men storyline was finished either. They just vanished.
Yeah, Robin died and they fucked off. That was it.
Yeah.
And took Robin's son.
And took Robin's son. Like that just seemed rushed. Their storyline didn't seem like it was over either.
Yeah.
They just left. I mean, there's all sorts of storylines personally that I think just disappeared. Like some characters just vanished. Jefferson was one. I know why. We know why, because Sebastian Stan got famous, so they couldn't bring him back. I mean, they could have recast, but probably wouldn't have worked as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like that storyline just disappeared. I think Milan's is one. Merida from Brave, her storyline just seemed to vanish.
Yeah.
After they were done with her, she's gone. She's somewhere in Storybrooke.
She plays a really good Merida, actually.
Yeah. And the other one will, to this day, bug me and will always be Grumpy and the Fairy. I know we've already mentioned it, but like they meet again in Storybrooke and they start dating like there after the curse, and it's never brought up again.
Yeah.
Like they basically tell Mother Superior, the Blue Fairy, to stuff it, and it's just never brought up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there was more Once Upon a Time could have done there, but we'll never know. The only other thing that I think they could have explored and probably should have been its own mini series, maybe not a full spin-off, but a mini series, was The Land of Untold Stories.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been
that was
a little spin-off arc would have been good there.
Like an anthology.
Yeah.
So we follow a different story every episode, and it's how they got to the land of untold story. What drove them to open that door?
Yeah.
Basically.
And if anyone from ABC weirdly listens to the podcast and you're thinking, oh, we've run out of ideas.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And believe me, there's a lot, so it could go on for a long time.
2%, that's all we require.
Yeah.
I mean, you own the IP, so you don't have to give us anything. But that was so. But yeah, so thank you guys for adding more to what is the hell was Once Upon a Time, because I think we've confused everyone more.
I don't think we figured it out. We've just
gone with it.
Just made people think.
I hope that if you haven't watched Once Upon a Time and you decided to stay, even though we said there would be spoilers, we've made you want to go and figure out what the fuck the show is. If you have seen Once Upon a Time, give us your thoughts on the show and what your favourite season is in the comments below. And hope to see you in the next one. Stay nerdy, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Bye.